Good afternoon, everybody. Welcome to this session. I hope you have been enjoying Ignite as much as we do until now. My name is Guimar Bekkers. I work for DSM, a Dutch multinational, responsible for collaboration applications within our IT department. Together here today with Marco Jonge, and we will share our story on how we made our journey to SharePoint Online and Office 365. Before we go into that, we will explain a little bit more about who DSM is. Marco?
Yeah. So good afternoon. Let me briefly tell something about DSM. So probably not really known by a lot of companies here in the audience. DSM products are actually daily used by about 2 billion people globally. Either consumed or used products will contain DSM materials. It started more than 100 years ago in coal mining. We made a transformation in the 60s to petrochemicals, and in the late 90s we moved to life sciences. If you look to our vision and mission statement, we really would like to make the living of people brighter using our materials and our products. If you go to the next slide. So DSM at a glance, roughly we have 10 billion in annual sales. We have about 25,000 people globally. We're ranked on the stock market in the Netherlands. We're a leader in the Dow Jones Sustainability Index, clearly active in life science and material sciences as a company. Then also looking to the markets we are active in. So we're a leader in health, nutrition, and materials. We're a typical B2B company. So we have customers like Coca-Cola, like BMW. So really in a broad area of segments which we are active in. Also, if you look to our global footprint, we're globally present. Like I said, the global workforce about 25,000 people, and basically all regions of the world in North America, Latin America, Europe, Asia Pacific, and quite equally divided across the globe. And I will hand over to Guimar now.
Good. Thank you, Marco. So, why the cloud? In 2008, we have started with the implementation of SharePoint at DSM. And if you look at the history of SharePoint within DSM, it has mainly been a technology-driven push. So we started with SharePoint 2003. A few years later, we made a move to SharePoint 2010, and then we started the journey to the cloud in 2013. And if you look at the history, you see that this continuous development of SharePoint was mainly driven from a technology point of view. And that's also one of the, let's say, the reasons why we decided to look into moving our SharePoint domain to the cloud. Because with our team and with our financial investments that we have, we are continuously only investing in the latest and the greatest of SharePoint, and we actually have less time available for our resources to spend with the customers, to look what kind of challenges they have, and use that time to create productivity. So that was one of the reasons also to consider to move to the cloud, because you offload the responsibility of the continuous releases of SharePoint towards Microsoft, and you free up the time of the people in your team to spend with customers to talk about how they can use this great platform in daily practice. If you look at how we used SharePoint within DSM, then it was actually split up in 3 domains. So most of you have using SharePoint probably as well as an intranet platform. So we had about 80 intranet sites within our company, mainly used to demonstrate the different business entities that we have, people who work within these entities, information that they're sharing across these entities. Furthermore, we had functional discipline sites, so people who have a common interest within HR, finance, IT, etc. They have a common place where they can exchange their knowledge. And furthermore, and that's the biggest amount of SharePoint team sites that we have. They're used mainly for project collaboration, departmental collaboration, and that was the biggest, let's say, volume of sites and also data that we had within our SharePoint domain. How did it all start, Marco?
Yeah. So, looking to the timeline, how did we start our journey to the cloud? It started all back in 2012, when we basically were asked by the demand function of IT within our organization to do a proof of concept, moving our team sites to the cloud environment and looking at what the impact could be. In Q1 of 2013, we executed that proof of concept. Just to see whether it would be a realistic and viable option for DSM in moving our team sites to the cloud. But we also realized that in order to gain the real benefit we wanted to achieve, we actually also needed to migrate the team sites, the intranets, and also the functional sites to the cloud environment. So therefore, we made a proposal in May, bringing our environment to the cloud environment, to the key decision makers for the demand function within DSM. And then we finally got the approval on May 22nd of 2013 to make the move to the cloud. We were basically driven by a couple of factors. Firstly, because our on-premise environment was running at an HP data center. That contract was going to be terminated by the end of 2013, so there was a clear driver to find a new way forward. And additionally, what we also saw was that the total cost of ownership of this platform was dramatically increasing, mainly also driven by release cycles, which Microsoft was offering, because our IT investments typically would be depreciated in 4 years' time. And we needed to do typically upgrades in 2 to 3 years' time. So we saw a constant increase of our total cost of ownership. And next to that, Microsoft announced that the release cycle would even be more aggressive. So we were quite afraid that the cost of this platform would go significantly up. Then looking to some of the what we wanted to achieve with our move to the cloud. DSM, like what I explained, we are a company which is constantly under change. We started with coal mining, went to petrochemicals, went to life sciences. So we're constantly divesting and acquiring companies. So we need to have an environment which is able to easily scale up, scale down when we are doing a divestment or an acquisition. Next to that, what I said, the total cost of ownership, so bringing down the cost, because this was a quite expensive platform within DSM with a lot of customizations, a constant high release cycle, keeping up with that. Also what we saw was that the team was very much technology driven, constantly busy in getting the SharePoint environment stable. So our team was basically very technology oriented and not really having a discussion what real value could be from a collaboration platform, because they constantly were firefighting getting the next release stable. Then, security is very much an important topic within DSM. We're about 10% of our employees are working in R&D. We're heavy on innovations and also patents. So we have roughly 18,000 patents. So, keeping information secure and compliant is clearly important. We also wanted to keep up with the speed, the release cycle of Microsoft, making sure that we could keep the platform up to date. we also got the full Office 365 license for our company, so we wanted to take leverage from that license. Also, within our company, it's very much a vision to be internet-centric, evergreen IT, making sure that everything is accessible via browser. So the cloud clearly was supporting this. And also what we noticed that our on-premise environment, specifically running in a data center in the Netherlands, was causing quite a lot of performance issues for our regions in Asia Pacific, in Latin America, North America, so typically performing well in Europe, but not so well in other regions of the world. So performance was also something we clearly wanted to improve to get better and further adoption of the SharePoint platform.
Yeah, maybe to build a little bit further. So if you look at the cost savings, we're talking about 50% of cost reductions by this year. We also wanted to improve the experience and the performance, as Marco already mentioned before, by really taking out all the complexity that we had on our on-premise environment because of all kinds of customizations. You have to imagine that our company actually exists of 10, 12 sub-companies, and everybody has a different need and a different flavor. That makes it, at the end, a very complex and expensive platform. So we really made it very clear that we want to go back to a standardized platform using out-of-the-box functionality, and at the same point also have a modern platform which is continuously up to date with the latest and the greatest, but we don't need to take care of ourselves. So that's why we did this in the end. Of course, you can imagine that this transition for the end users and your employees within the business is quite a challenge, because as I just mentioned, people are used to have all kinds of flavors and all kinds of needs which were always allowed and accepted to deviate from the standard. So we try to show very clearly what the consequences of this journey would be, but also explain them the benefits on the long term. Different way of working. So SharePoint standard out-of-the-box functionality versus all kinds of DSM-specific customizations. We made it clear that by making that move, we will reduce complexity. It will improve the performance of the platform. By that itself, it will reduce the user interruption and hopefully improve the productivity. Because if you have a platform which is not performing, then people will not use it, and then productivity is gone. Furthermore, as already also mentioned, we're now following the release cycle as given by Microsoft. But it also means that we can adapt faster to the latest trends in the market. Also mentioned, we have a new agreement between DSM and Microsoft, giving us also the opportunity and the possibilities to start leveraging OneDrive, Delve, Yammer Enterprise, the full spectrum of the Office 365 platform. And I think with that and having all these possibilities together, we'll really create more value for DSM, because we will start also focusing more on how the combination of these tools will work in business scenarios. And we will come back to that later on, show you a little bit what we're doing currently today and what our plans are for this year. Good.
Yeah, looking to the program governance of our move to the cloud. We realized within DSM there was clearly a culture that people could always customize their environments, doing things themselves, quite a lot of flexibility also on the business side. So we realized that if we wanted to make this a success, we needed to have a clear steering and structure in how we wanted to steer this program. So we more or less built it around three kind of building blocks. So we started with a program review team, where we had key executives on the demand side, but also on the supply side. So representing the life science and material science of our business. Then we also had a layer beneath that where we had reference group members. So these were about 25 key stakeholders within the business side, representing the SharePoint communities within our business lines. And lastly, we also had the site owners. So we had roughly about 800 site owners, which we also included in this program. So clearly 3 levels where we had business leadership and also IT leadership together steering this program.
Yeah, and maybe one important layer mentioned also by Marco was the SharePoint reference group, as we called it, a group of key SharePoint ambassadors within the different business entities we have within DSM. And really, we gave this group a platform to really be involved in the decision making towards our journey to the cloud. I think one of the success of this project has been the empowering of this group, because this group really knows what their end users are expecting, what they are doing in their daily work, and how they are using the collaboration platform within their context. Of course, we made it very clear from the beginning that there is a certain framework in which they could move. So of course within the cloud, we say that we want to use standard out-of-the-box functionality. So we gave them that framework, but within that framework we gave them decision-making power. So if you look at this group of people, it was a combination of people from IT who are in the collaboration domain, people from communication because they have a background in the intranet use of SharePoint, and then business process experts from the business units which have more a background in content management, document management, etc. If you look at what typically this group was doing throughout the project, we took them along on showing the differences between the DSM customizations and the out-of-the-box functionality in SharePoint Online. We showed them the first concepts, we asked them to test it, we asked their feedback. If they would have certain concerns on this feedback, they could bring it back to the program review team. They were involved in the whole cleansing and preparation of the migration activities. They were an ambassador towards their end community. They were responsible for communicating to the end community. And this has really, really paid off. So the enablement of this group was really great. If you look at the difference between the group I just told you and the site collection owners, is that the reference group members, they were involved in the entire process of the project, so from the beginning till the end. But the site collection owners, who are responsible for their content, to validate that their content is properly migrated, to be involved in the cleaning up of the content before we did the migration. There was a clear split. So the reference group was involved from beginning till the end. The site collection owners were only involved later in the stage of the project. So the reference group members are a representative of all their site collection owners within their business. Okay.
Yeah, then looking how the project was organized, so we had 5 project streams in our project. It started with a stream which was primarily focused on the performance. We clearly had a networking team involved, also looking to the existing performance of the existing environment, so that we had a kind of baseline from the on-premise environment to the cloud environment, so that we also there could clearly benchmark and show whether it was improving or not improving. We had a group which Guillaume already explained with the reference group, clearly focusing on user adoption, so making sure that the new platform also would be embedded in the organization and having the clear value which it should deliver. We had a group focused on the migration, so we had a clear process, which will be explained later on as well, how we manage the migration, making sure that we had the right owners, the right data cleansing in the system, making sure that also the new system would be a new and clean environment. We had a security stream, focusing on security and making sure that the DSM requirements would be met. And then we had also a stream which would take it in managed operations, making also sure that once we would go live with this environment, that technical and functional application management was properly handled.
Good. So how did we all do this? Huh? I think we just explained a little bit on the governance we had in place and how we used it. So if you look at how the whole process started, we had a kickoff session with this reference group, and we really explained them a little bit on what are we doing, moving to the cloud, what does it mean, and we really spent quite some effort in doing a demo concept of our on-premise environment into the cloud environment. So we really started mapping DSM customizations into out-of-the-box functionality, and really did that in a kind of demo in SharePoint Online. And we really showed them the differences, the benefits, and the consequences. And that really helped, because people need to see things in order to understand what's the difference. If you only talk about the differences on paper, there will always be misinterpretations. So I think that really helped. We collected that feedback from this group, and we used that feedback to come to a kind of final blueprint of how functionality-wise our SharePoint Online environment would work and look in the cloud. Once that was clear, we also agreed that we would execute a number of trial migrations. Eventually it were 4. And in these trial migrations, we validated actually the quality and the success criteria we had defined for the migration factory that we used. And it took us about 4 runs to really get to a certain quality level that we expected before we did the actual migration. And I think it helped us a lot to get the major problems out of the migration factory, and really helped us also to tweak it to the best level you can get. But to be very clear, not everything went automatically. So that's an illusion. So with the greatest tools, such as MetaLogics, we also used it. There will always be manual work, fine-tuning, fixing it. Also that we made very clear to our business users, that they have a responsibility in the end to validate, fine-tune before we would actually go live. In the meantime, what we also did is, before we did actually the whole content migration, we also had quite some tough discussions with our business users on the content to be migrated. As you can imagine, creating content in a collaborative platform is not a problem, but managing it, it is. So, what we said is we could migrate about 100 gigabytes of data per week, and each week would be about 30 to 50,000 euro more expensive to execute the migration. So we put a very clear financial driver with the business to say, if you clean up, then the total project cost will go down, and of course, the upcoming years, the running cost of the platform also goes down. So there is a mutual benefit that we jointly work together to reduce the amount of volume to be migrated, and that you do a proper cleansing activity. Also that paid off eventually. We, I think, if you look at the figures, we started about 1,000 site collections that we had, about 1 terabyte of data. But we did some very simple analysis. So we checked on the on-premise environment how much of our team sites have been accessed or modified in the past 3 to 6 months. And then we came to the conclusion that there are quite some team sites which were not being used anymore. Of course, when you start the dialogue with the business, they have all kinds of reasons why they say it's still necessary to keep. But we show them the figures. We show them also the consequence of the financial impact if we would move everything. And that eventually helped us to reduce the amount of site collections to be migrated towards 700. And I think also data-wise, I think we ended up with about 800 gigabytes of data to be migrated. Good. Yeah, planning. If you look at this time frame of the entire project, what immediately pops up is that the preparation has took quite some time. So if you look at the actual migration, it was only about 6 months. We did it in batches. I will get back to that later. And took us quite some effort in doing proper analysis of what needs to be migrated, get the consensus of the business in that, but also stakeholder alignment at the business, but also at IT. Because still for quite a lot of people, even within IT, cloud feels a little bit uncomfortable. So we have to do quite some sessions to get their buy-in, explain the pros, the cons. And therefore it took about 10 months to do proper mitigation, change management, get people feel more comfortable with this whole journey. But also, for example, the trial migrations, the intention was to do 2, but eventually we decided to do 4 because we were not satisfied with the quality. Good. Then after this whole preparation phase, we did the actual migration. I think that went really well. We said it needs to happen before September 2014 because then really we need to terminate the contract with HP. So we put that flag in the program and we did it. Took us also about 3 months to stabilize the platform after the project. And I can actually say today that the platform is really stable and we really start seeing the benefits of being in the cloud. Meaning that our technical support team is decreasing because the amount of incidents that we're getting in to keep the platform stable is going down. So we're starting now to really get the benefits out of this whole journey. So how did we migrate? We migrated in batches. Took 11 weeks, and the 11 weeks were split of batches of 100 gigabytes of content. And what we try to do is that we try to group the content of the business in these batches together to make sure that we could close business per business per business the migration. The benefit of this approach would be if we would run into problems in week 1 with one of the batches, we would say stop, we will move that batch to the end so we don't have any impact on the other batches throughout the entire planning. Because you can imagine that you have agreed with all these business users that at week 3 you need to do something for us. If you would stop the whole planning of your program, then you need to re-engage with all these stakeholders to come up with a new planning. So we put it in batches. If a batch was not running well, we had technical problems, we stopped it, we put it at the back. Of course, then we had a delay of a week. But you can imagine having a delay of 1 week is better than having an entire delay because all kinds of business stakeholders don't have any time because your planning is down the drain. So that's one of the reasons why we approached it like this. A batch, how did it look like? Good. So before the whole, so we did the trial migrations, we did the planning, we did the cleansing, we did all that, and then we started the actual migration. And the migration would start with a pre-migration session with the business users to explain what are we going to do, what do you need to do, how do you need to validate the content that is to be migrated. Then the migration would be, the batch would be picked up, in this case by Microsoft, because we did this project together with them, and they would push it to the factory. They would do a first validation on the quality criteria that we had set. It would come to DSM IT. We did another check if it was really matching the quality criteria that we set. And then we handed over to the business. The business, of course, did a check on, metadata, is the content there, is the functionality as expected. And then in the weekends, we would do an incremental upgrade. And after that, we would release it for go live and do bug fixing and aftercare in production. And we would do that each week with a new batch. So in principle, we had 11 weeks, and then at the last period, of course, 3 weeks of aftercare. And this is how we approached the migration. Good? Standardization, Marco.
Yeah, so like said, we also wanted to make sure that moving to the cloud, that we wouldn't need to customize anything anymore in the Office 365 environment. Of course, you can do that by using Azure, but we clearly wanted to enforce standardization. You see also within DSM, that's happening on multi-factor discipline. So we're actually moving all our enterprise applications to be kind of browser enabled, being fully internet centric. You see large enterprise applications now being moved to the browser. You also see that some applications cannot be moved to the browser. So DSM is also a heavy user of SAP, for example. So that's something we will use Citrix for to enable it. And you also see that our workplace, which is currently also running about 800 applications, we also want to bring back to a standardized workplace. So our vision is really move to standardized products so that we can keep the agility, make sure that we are up to date with our product lifecycle, and also to face tough challenges and discussions with our business stakeholders, and all primarily driven to keep up with the technology, and to make sure that the total cost of ownership within IT is not going to increase. So we would like to really decrease our total cost of ownership. If you take that then to our SharePoint environment, so we had a huge list of all kinds of customizations. You can see them on the slide. These were basically the main things which we discussed, which also took us in the end the 10 months time period. We initially did not anticipate that it took us so much time to discuss these kind of things with the stakeholders, making sure that we could really move it to the out-of-the-box functionality. Also some certain applications, for example, enterprise search, we were using the autonomy, or still using the autonomy search engine. And that's now something which we would like to move to hybrid search. So also there, taking the benefit of the Office 365 proposition. Clear focus on standardization, and even the company as such is not used to standardization, and that in the end it took us 10 months for that we finally could move this project into migration mode.
Yeah, maybe to add on top of that, there are also certain things which are just not there anymore. Also that we made clear to our end users that certain things are end of life, not always nice. Of course, there where it was really necessary, we look for proper alternatives. But you also see that there will be alternatives coming because the cloud is continuously developing. So also sometimes a little bit of patience helps, and that pays off, because as you already have probably here the past 2 days, all kinds of new developments which are happening, and they're happening also a lot in the cloud. So Also that I think we are facing now is that, being a front runner with this approach, definitely in the Netherlands, we also run into challenges once in a while. But you see that after a certain period of time, these problems are being tackled by Microsoft, and they will be coming improved back into your cloud automatically. So you don't need to do all kinds of additional activities on top of that.
Yeah, and next to that, in this project, the term often used is eat your own dog food. So we gave it another spin. We said, drink your own champagne. We applied it also during the migration. So we started, to be honest, first within the IT organization, so that the IT organization would face the challenges with the migrations we were doing. And the same we did actually during the project, using the Office 365 capabilities, like team sites, migration support tools, the Jammer environment, learning and development environments to use the SharePoint environment. And Guillemar will also demo some of the things we used.
Yeah, so we had actually three main things that we did. Because we said, if we want to make sure that people start using the technology, then we should be using it first ourselves. So we said, let's make use of the technology by executing the project. And we did that in a few things. We had a SharePoint Online migration dashboard. So there, the site collection owner could find all the information necessary about his site collections for which he was responsible, and the activities that he needed to do. We had an online training and learning center set up in the SharePoint Online environment, leveraging all the materials which were already available by Microsoft. So we didn't make any DSM specifics because we're using a standard platform. So why reinvent the wheel? It's a waste of time. Furthermore, we had we leveraged Jammer Enterprise because of our agreement with Microsoft, we could also actually start using Yammer. So we did that as well, and we used it mainly to communicate on a continuous basis with our end users and our stakeholders. What I will do, quickly swap screen. So this is the training and learning center that we set up in SharePoint Online. We gave it a little bit of a DSM look. So this is also our SharePoint intranet environment that you can see here. So what we did is, we split up the learning center in a few topics. How to become a SharePoint champion. You could do an intro program, an intermediate program, an advanced program. You could also use search to look for a training. And then what we also did is, depending on different functionalities, you could zoom in into what kind of training material was available. And here again, we leveraged the search capabilities of the new SharePoint Online platform. So you can easily see here, this is all driven on search. You can also nicely see the preview of the documents, the quick reference cards. Filter down based on the information that you're looking for. And this really helped us a lot. What we also did is, for example, post-migration support. So as I just mentioned, the automatic migration will never go 100% right. So we also had some fixed instructions for the end users how to deal with that. So if you click, here we made a list with known issues and how to fix them. We categorize them on certain topics. So for example, known problems with libraries. Okay, and we provide them with some guidance and some instructions how to deal with that. Because also in the end, we had a certain project budget, we had a certain project resource pool, and doing everything for everybody was not possible. So we provided these tools and guidelines for them to do something also themselves. And that also creates commitment, and it also helps them to learn more about the new platform. Good. This was on the learning part. What we had further, we had a dashboard. We had a dashboard where the site collection owners could find the site collections they're responsible for and what they would have to do. So in this case, there is one site collection still on my name. So how it would work in practice is that Microsoft would have migrated the batch of site collections, and once that was done, we informed the site collection owners that they could start picking up their activities. They could go to this platform, search for the sites which were in their ownership, and start validating a few things. So they needed to check if the branding was okay, if the navigation was working properly, if the site and pages which were previously there were also there, and the content, of course, if the documents were still in the right libraries, if the lists were working, if still the user groups and permissions were working as expected, and also if there were any specifics that they had in the past, if they would be still working in the online environment. For each of these activities, we also gave them an instruction, and it's just a matter of checking the box, and then if they checked the box and everything was okay, it would go to the next part of the process, where it would actually come back to IT, and they would start doing the incremental upgrade, and after the incremental, they would start doing the redirection of the old to the new environment. So we used again technology which we were going to launch during the program, and people really start getting more familiar with this platform while actually moving it towards it. So I think that's quite it's quite a nice opportunity also for everybody else to think about that, and really helps you also to drive adoption of your platforms. Good. Last but not least, we also started with Yammer. So in the beginning, people were like, "What are we going to do with that?" So we said, let's start. We started first with this small SharePoint reference group, about 25 people. But of course, at a certain point, you start engaging with a larger community, with site collection owners, secretaries who have also a certain role with SharePoint. And this platform grew actually towards a group of about 250 people today. And we actually use it for multiple things. So we use it, for example, to give an update on how the migration was going. So as you can see here, we gave an update how many site collections were already live, how many were about to go live, which ones were still pending with the site collection owners, and we had a dialogue with the people involved in the project. Very simple example how Yammer could benefit in creating this dialogue with your end users. And maybe far most important, what I think helped us is that as long as you are open, transparent towards this group on what's going well, but definitely what is not going so well, you will create trust. And that trust will help you to deliver this project successfully. And that really helped us by leveraging a platform such as Yammer. Here's a very simple example. So something goes wrong. So people post this issue. We pick it up as a team. We look into it. We give a resolution, and other people can benefit from it. Because probably there are more users within your organization who are facing similar kind of issues, and the resolution is already known. Just point them to Yammer. They can find it there.
And I think the extra nice benefit, what we also saw, which currently is happening, is that users are helping each other. In a lot of the issues which we see, have people post something, and then if a user already faced it before, they are actually answering how you can resolve the issue. So you also see there that the IT organization is less involved actually in getting certain issues resolved.
And still today, this is one of the most active groups we have within our Yammer network. What we also do is not only reactive, but also proactively share on a weekly basis or on a bi-weekly basis new insights. Did you know this? Did you already try this? We also as a company or as IT run into this problem, but this is the resolution that we had. So we start proactively sharing information with the community, and they can also start learning themselves. So it's really about taking, but also about giving. And as long as you take that into mind, I think it really works. Last but not least, feedback. So this platform also helps you to get honest feedback on how things are going. Things go well, things which don't go well. Of course, they're there. Everybody can see it. But that also helps, you know. If there is a certain urgency because something is really going wrong or not properly working well, and more people are experiencing that, then you can actually do something with it. Often people don't feel free to speak up. And this platform really helps them to speak up. And if they have multiple people around them who have the same problem, they probably feel more comfortable to speak up. Good. So this is a little bit what we mean by drinking our own champagne. The lessons learned, Marco?
Yeah. Yeah, of course, there were also quite some lessons learned in this whole transformation program. So classified more or less around 7 areas. So we did lessons learned on the approach, lessons learned on the communication. So I think some key points in the approach was that it clearly helped very well that we differentiated our target groups and the scenarios. I think that was very helpful and beneficial. We had a clear end-to-end scope, making sure that we took the full program into the scope. We also made sure that we managed the expectations upfront very well, and also tried to reduce assumptions as much as possible. We might have benefited from a more agile approach than kind of more structured approach in this migration program. Also, we try to prevent accumulation of tasks, making sure that the risks were properly managed. And also, we made sure that we decomplexed as much as possible, keeping the scope as clean as possible. Communication, so we tried different things, drinking our own champagne using the Jammer platform. I think, people really liked it, but also still people didn't like it. So communication, I think is clearly a challenge in how to communicate a program like this. So there were clearly people loving it, but also people hating it, how we were communicating. We believe Jammer worked very well. Also the proof that the network of 250 people is still actively engaged on the Jammer platform, still using it in interaction. And Guillaume showed some examples how we also use it to be more proactive. Also the dashboard, we think helped very well with the kind of 9 steps approach. We asked people to look into it. It also forced actually people to start using the Office 365 platform. The reference group, the 25 key stakeholders on the business side, were clearly very much helping in de-escalating and also communicating to the site owners within their business line. And we also took a kind of approach where we gave the communication control to this reference group. And I think my voice is gone.
Voice is gone.
Yeah.
I'm back.
So people also made a remark that they rather would have liked a more kind of central communication instead of a decentral communication. Then looking to the team, I think the commitment was very high, and also the drive was very high. Also, we took sometimes a little bit risk, and also the team showed the courage to take that risk. Also within DSM, we clearly adapted a new way of working. So basically nobody has a kind of fixed working desk. And what we soon realized was that specifically for this project, it basically made sense also to organize a kind of war room where everybody was sitting next to each other. So we could have actually done that a little bit earlier.
Maybe good to explain. We worked with different parties. So we had Microsoft involved, we had TCS involved, our service provider, who is based in Bangalore in India. So it quite some challenges also with distances there and time zones. And I think especially having people in a room really helps.
Then also we were clearly very critical on our resources, looking to the maturity of the resources, looking to the knowledge and the experience. We had, like I said, a mix of people working in India, working in Europe, working in the US, making sure that we had the right resources, also making sure we could have been a little bit better in certain resource commitments, specifically the ones a little bit less under control of the collaboration team, specifically in the area of networking, security, where you're depending on other organizations. Also, certain, what also really helped well was our daily stand-up, where we would connect the full team, and daily, we would have a 30-minute session, talking what we achieved, and also looking forward to the next day. Making sure that all critical issues and problems were discussed on a daily basis, especially with a team which was highly fragmented in Europe, India, and in the US. Looking to the governance, we had quite some changes in project leadership. So we had 3 project directors on this project, and I think we could have been a bit more concise in selecting the project director. Also looking to the maturity and affinity with collaboration kind of services. The active management involvement, I think, helped a lot. We had quite some change management which we needed to manage, but also senior leadership was quite actively involved in managing and de-escalating some of the escalations. And also on the business side, having 3 kind of users responsible for the life science and material sciences within DSM helped a lot. Then looking to requirements management, requirements in the cloud don't always make sense. We clearly had a lot of dialogue about adjusting to the standard and also selling this. Like I said, it took us quite some time, and I think it clearly could have been done sometimes a little bit better, agreements and expectations on quality. Then looking to timing planning, this project was sometimes running during holiday periods. I think it's better not to do that. Also quarterly closures, I think sometimes can be not so beneficial, because then certain systems go into the freeze. Also what we saw was that in this area, quite a lot of projects were going on. So there was also a replacement of an electronic document management system. So you're tapping more or less into the same kind of pool. That was clearly a lesson learned. Also the impact of this project was underestimated, because you're basically touching the full organization. And at times also I think the time pressure was too high, also looking to our own people, so you saw that in quality and delivering, and also being in control of this project. Then the final 2 lessons learned, looking to supplier management. I think in the beginning how we teamed with Microsoft, because they were involved in this project as the kind of key supplier, We manage it more or less as a kind of customer-supplier interaction. And I think, during the project, I think both Microsoft and DSM realized that we should engage much more in a partnership if we wanted to be successful. And I think, also there at a certain moment of time, we spent quite some time in opening up that dialogue, putting some of the things we would like to improve on both sides. I think clearly opened up in really making this project successful. We could have done probably a little bit more checks on some of the suppliers which were engaged as well, had to underpin certain statements they made. Looking to quality, initially we did not address performance too strict. So I think we could have done earlier certain benchmarks and measurements. That was happening quite late. And also in the migration, we did not enforce on the business side that people should be testing. And I think we should have rather done that a little bit more mandatory, because you saw in the last the 3 months of the aftercare that a lot of the issues basically could have been prevented if certain users would have done some better testing.
Good. So now we're in the cloud after everything we had to do to get there, which is great, because now we can actually start focusing on how we can start leveraging this great platform towards the business. So what are we doing, or what have we been doing since we were in the cloud? We changed quite some things within our team. If you look at the collaboration applications team, we also have, again, an executive group of people within the company who are engaged in bringing this platform to the next level, mainly focusing, of course, on SharePoint, but also looking broader as a collaboration group. And last but not least is that we're now really focusing on how can we leverage Office 365 in the context of the business. And I will get back to that a little bit later. So if you look at the collaboration application team, we really made a shift towards business consultancy. So if you look at the team, how it was before, very simple. I want a team site for project collaboration. Then the IT team would say, okay, please fill in this form. We'll set up an empty team site. We will deliver it to you. Good luck. Hopefully you will figure out yourself how to deal with it. If you look at the composition of the team, we had mainly technical people, SharePoint solution designers, ECM consultants. We had a 20% female, 80% male group. We had 3 different nationalities, and we were actually supporting in 4 different locations across the world. If you look at the team today, it operates a little bit differently. So if the customer still wants to have this team site for project collaboration, then we start asking a little bit of other questions. So what's the purpose? Who is your audience? What do you want to achieve with this platform? And what are your current pain points in your current way of working? Because if we don't know that, then we're just shifting technology again. And we want to change that because we want to actually start adding value. So therefore, you have to have a different approach to your customers, and maybe also talk to different stakeholders at your customer's end to really start having a proper dialogue. And if you look at the current team that we have now in 2015, we still have a SharePoint architect, but that's only one. We have a Yammer specialist in the group. We have somebody who's more involved in social collaboration. We have people who have skills with change management. We still have ECM consultant, because within our team we do more than Office 365. We have a better balance between female and male. We have more nationalities, more locations. And what we also did is we gave all the individual business solution consultants that we have, and we have about 10 or 11 currently, we gave them a dedicated business responsibility. So, for example, one of the persons in the team, Joyce, she's responsible for our business, which is going about food specialties. So she dedicates her time to 1 or 2 customers to build a relationship and to really start having proper dialogues with these groups on how they could start leveraging more collaboration tools in their business environment. And I think that's also a consequence of moving to the cloud, because I don't need a bunch of technology people in my team to keep the system running, because that's already being done by Microsoft. So I need to have people who can have a proper dialogue with the business users to understand what are their challenges, what kind of objectives do they have within their business, and how can collaboration help. And that really is, I see as a benefit of moving to the cloud, that you really can start having more time with your customer to talk about value instead of technology. Good, the SharePoint Council?
Yeah, then looking also, we also wanted to make a next step in getting executive sponsorship for this collaboration platform. When we started the SharePoint to the Cloud project, we also set something up which we called the SharePoint Council. That's slowly moving into a kind of collaboration council. What you see within DSM is that the typical core processes like purchasing, sales and marketing are really well owned by senior leaders within the company. Also the platforms they need, like an ERP system or a web shop or a digital marketing platform. And what we noticed was that for collaboration it was rather difficult to appoint one single owner within the company who should be driving this to the next level. So that's why we started also in 2013 with the SharePoint Council. We made a kind of multidisciplinary team, engaging leadership from HR, from marketing and sales, manufacturing, supply chain, communication and IT, so that we would at least started to create a kind of platform within the company who could drive more or less collaboration from a kind of different angles. We also set some clear objectives in 2015. If you look to the objectives from our SharePoint Council, we identified more or less 3 objectives this year. So last year we spent a lot of time getting the council more or less up to speed to make them aware what kind of capabilities in their specific discipline or function could be realized. And this year we really are focusing on creating awareness in the collaboration tools. Creating a kind of solution portfolio. So we also are engaging with what we call an adoption and change management program. So Guillaume will show that later on as well, what we want to achieve there. And we also would like to make a kind of next step in maturity in using collaboration tools within the company. Clearly geared at generating more value out of the platform, and not just purely seeing it as a kind of technical platform where you can store some documents.
Yeah, good. Thank you, Marco. Yeah, coming back to the solution portfolio. As I mentioned before, SharePoint was mainly used within DSM for intranet purposes, having some team sites for sharing documents across projects or departments. But there's much more to gain if you properly use Office 365. So we said, what kind of business scenarios do we really see continuously happening within DSM where collaboration tools could help? Well, we picked out 2. We said effective meetings. Everybody has meetings. Everybody. Each day, go on and on and on. So we said, we need to facilitate that process better by leveraging the technology that we have. And we also said people do a lot of projects, but they're not benefiting of all the capabilities that are available. So what we said, what we're currently doing in here is that we're working out in an end-to-end scenario how to facilitate a meeting, preparation, conducting, and also following up. And then we also make it very clear what kind of technology can help you during that scenario. So if you talk about meetings, it's a combination of OneNote with it in a team side, where you also clearly define actions and owners, and people need to follow up on these actions. You also leverage, for example, Link in that if it's a virtual meeting. But what we also do, and that's a big part of this program, is that we not only talk about the technology that you can use, but we also talk about the behavior that we expect from the people. Because you can have the greatest technology, but if people are not using it in a proper way, or everybody continues to work and do everything via email, then again, we're not leveraging the capabilities of this platform, and even with 50% reduction of the cost, I think then still the platform is too expensive. If you look at project collaboration, there we do the same. So we look about having a team site where you can share the documents, where you can define tasks, make people owner of these tasks, but also integrate that, for example, with Yammer, and make sure that everybody communicates about this project via Yammer and not via email. Because if you continue to have a dialogue via email, not everybody in the project knows what's going on. Often projects have different people from different regions, different time zones. So combining that into a solution end-to-end, and also making very clear what the rules of engagement are when working in a team. That's what we're currently doing. So we're trying to develop these end-to-end scenarios, which is tooling, it's about people, and the combination of both coming together. And that's actually the program that we're running this year. So we're now finalizing the desired state of the scenarios. So we had interviews with people who are in meetings, but also people who are in projects, and we try to understand what is their current way of working and what kind of challenges do they see, and how could we facilitate them by leveraging the Office 365 platform, but also making rules and guidelines on how to work as a team. We're wrapping that up as we speak, and then we're starting a kind of global roadshow to, I think, about 35 locations of DSM around the world, where we really try to get people more aware of these nice capabilities that we have, and really also try to understand what kind of challenges they have. At the end of this year, we will conduct a few pilots. So we will do a few pilots on effective meetings, actually with the SharePoint Council members as a role model in that. And we have also within a DSM a group which is responsible for project management. And together with them, we agreed that we will do a few pilots on the new way of working in project collaboration. That's on the roadmap for this year, and then the next step would really be on maturing the organization of the digital workplace. Good. A lot about Office 365. I want to tell a little bit, also looking at the time quickly, on what we're doing with Yammer Enterprise, and I would like to do so very quickly in showing a customer of us talking about the benefits of Yammer.
Full screen.
Huh?
DSM is doing something
A quick, fun way to gather different opinions and ideas. Since I'm on Yammer, I've been able to solve my problems much quicker because I can tap into the knowledge of all the people in this company who are also on Yammer. My name is Kasper Jans, and within DSM I work on business process management. Whenever I used to have an issue or a question, it sometimes took me days or weeks to get an answer. You needed to email people, you needed to call people, you had to wait for their response. Now that I'm on Yammer, it's way better. You post a question on Yammer, and sometimes within hours you get a response. Yammer helps me to connect and engage with other people. I can easily search for skills, personal skills, and collaborate more quickly on certain projects. And all of this because everything is in one place. I check Yammer a couple times a day, at work, on my iPhone, my iPad, or on the train, wherever it's convenient for me. What I also do on Yammer is join a Yam Jam. Easy ways to gather different opinions and ideas, as you can collaborate quickly with up to 80 people. Sometimes people tell me it takes too much time to use Yammer. I really would like you to reconsider that. Yammer is really easy to use. It just took me a couple of minutes to post a question, and within 7 hours I found Aju, the man who solved my problem.
Thanks, Casper.
Thank you very much.
Good. So that's a little bit on how Yammer is currently being used within DSM. And also how the customer is experiencing that. So I think we're still in the journey with Yammer. Not everybody is a fan, of course, as you can imagine, but we're getting there. We're using it for multiple purposes. We're doing jam sessions on our culture agenda. We're doing it with managing board members when they are at the World Economic Forum in Davos. So it's really taking off. And that shows also the benefits, at least for us, on moving to the cloud, that we can make better use of Office 365. It is more than SharePoint. It's a spectrum of functionalities. Finding the right pieces and also approaching it in small bits, that really helped us a lot. Good. Then to wrap up.
Yeah. So as you can see, we're also still continuing with our journey. So a lot of large things we achieved, which we wanted to achieve, but also certainly some things are still in progress. I think what we still need to do is the enablement of OneDrive, replacing our file and print servers, really moving content, all our content to the cloud. We're also working on hybrid search, replacing our autonomy search engine by the Microsoft technology. We will also look into the compliance center because we want to take a next step in security, really seeing who is using what and who is accessing what to get some better transparency in that. And I think the key message I would say, the cloud is rapidly developing. I think it's where all companies should be heading at. And if you really want to drive a successful implementation and you want to capture the long-term benefits, I think standardization is a crucial part. You really need to be persistent. You saw it took us about 10 months. But in the end, I think we're benefiting now from that we went to the cloud. And also if you would like to know more, you can find us also on the Jammer Ignite network, and maybe you also still have some questions now. Sir? Could you go to the microphone maybe, because there's a microphone behind you. Yeah.
How did you come up with the 50% savings?
Mainly the main cost drivers for that was eliminating infrastructure and eliminating also the management of this infrastructure. So the biggest saving came by basically no longer needing infrastructure and hosting, and also the people managing that.
Hi there, I've got two fast questions.
Sure.
You said IT had some concerns about moving to the cloud. Can you tell me a little bit about what their concerns were, and how did you kind of talk them off the ledge?
Well, the concerns, of course, as you can imagine, mainly came also from our information security office. Mm-hmm. For them, the cloud is still kind of a black box. They don't know what to expect. What we did a lot is that we showed them also about how Microsoft is managing this environment, what kind of policies and what kind of rules they have set in place in their data centers and how they go about the whole security of the Office 365, and really let them tell the story to your IT stakeholders to get them convinced.
Very cool.
Yeah.
I'll let other people ask if there are other questions.
Okay.
I wanted to know if you could elaborate on what was the user experience across the enterprise during the 11 weeks of transition, and then individually for the 1 week when the one business unit was moving from on-premise to online.
Yeah, I think because of course the actual switch between the old and the new environment would actually only happen after the weekend, so the impact was quite low. Of course, let's say the difficulty we had with our batched approach, so not a global launch at one point, is that certain parts of the platform were already in the cloud, and certain parts are not. So that is something indeed we had to deal with, that there would be for a certain period of time a different experience between the old and the new environment. But also that we try to communicate at least upfront very clearly. But that's one of the downsides of, let's say, the batched approach instead of having one big bang. I hope that answers your question. Good?
Did you guys have any data sovereignty issues or considerations going to the cloud?
Could you maybe repeat data?
Data sovereignty, so being in different countries and different rules and frankly concerns that your company might have with your zeros and ones up in the cloud and dispersed around the globe.
Yeah, luckily that was not the case because also our on-premise environment was only purely hosted in the Netherlands, and the cloud actually is still residing in the Netherlands in the data center which is located in the Netherlands. So with that, we more or less mitigated that kind of risk.
Thank you.
Yeah. Sir?
Did you have any workflow vendor before, and did you use workflows in any sophisticated way either before or afterwards?
Yeah, no, so we had some standard workflows in SharePoint, not really extensively, which I think we were quite lucky with. But we did have a few workflows, and they had to be reconfigured in the cloud. So there was some manual effort to be done. So we didn't migrate them as such.
I guess one more question.
Sure.
Mostly when I talk to people, the first workload that moves to the cloud is Exchange Online.
Yeah.
Did that move first for you and
Yes.
SharePoint was second?
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, and that also would be our advice. Yeah.
Excellent. All right, thank you.
Good?
Yeah.
I have a question too. You said that you going to Office 365 required you to be more standardized. I'm assuming that your users lost some flexibility. Is there a way that you alleviated those fears, or is there any stories that went along with that you can elaborate on?
Yeah. I think in the end, of course, people were losing some flexibility because they were mainly losing the flexibility to get whatever they want. But if you look at the comparison, what we had customized in 2007 and 2010 of SharePoint, by now, most of these things could be done out of the box with SharePoint Online. So in that sense, there was not really that much of a big pain or hurdle to take. But I think mainly getting people used to the fact that they need to use a standard product and that they cannot get whatever they think they need, that was the main change. That you start educating your end user organization that this is the framework that we have, and there will be new technology coming at a certain pace, and we don't want to go out of that framework. And I think that's the main difference. Yeah,
and additionally, we also kept a kind of open dialogue with Microsoft, so that yeah, we have kind of clear visibility what's going on in the roadmap, so that also there, yeah, we can be much more transparent to our users that maybe certain functionality which is not available yet, that we can say, yeah, it's maybe coming in the next quarter or maybe the next month. So also there, I think, yeah, we're managing the relationship yeah, a bit clearer, and I think, yeah, also focusing on the benefit, so that yeah, you get a lot of new functionalities quite quicker than used to happen before. Plus the bonus of yeah, more than 50% cost decrease. Yeah, also motivates users in a certain aspect to accept maybe some of the loss.
Good. Okay. Thank you all for coming today.
Yeah, thank you.